it's Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm going to do another makeup declutter today. Today it's powders. There's a lot. I think I have 42. If I counted right, I think I have 42. That is a ton of powder. But if you're curious about the other makeup declutters I've been doing so far this summer, I will link them for you down below in the description box. And I will also put something here if you want to click on them right now. I will list them for you here. But it's something I've been needing to do for a while. And it's always hard for me because I buy all of my own makeup, spend my own money on it. And when I see the egregious amounts of stuff that I have that have either gone bad or I'm just not using, to tell myself to slow down, especially when it comes to purchasing. And I went a little crazy this spring. So in about a year, I'm sure I'm gonna see some of those things in a declutter and I'll just hang my head in shame. So don't over purchase, know what you like, buy what you like. If you don't like it, return it. I'll just leave it there. Starting with affordable pressed powders, the first one I know I can let go is this one here from L'Oreal. I wanna try this in my correct shade because this is shade 305. And it is the wrong shade for me. It's way too deep. It was the lightest shade, and I think what happened was that the wrong shade got put in, you know, as you're going through and you're looking at them and they're all kind of lined up. It got put in the farthest one to the left that was the lightest shade, and I was pulling from that row that should have been the lightest shade, and I didn't double check the number on the front, and I thought I was getting the correct shade for myself, and so my bad. But this is one I don't know that I'm going to run out and buy it now, but eventually I do want to try it again because I heard it's a really great powder that sits beautifully on mature skin, and some people say it works almost as well, if not better, than the other L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Powder Foundation that I love. All right, when I was thinking I was getting the L'Oreal Infallible Powder Foundation, the Fresh Wear, I picked this up because it was from L'Oreal and it said Infallible, but then I didn't look close enough. It said Pro Matte, and because I was worried I wasn't gonna get the right shade, I got shade 100 Porcelain. I'm like, great, I got the right shade, and I thought this was the powder foundation. They look a little different. Powder foundation has red, the Infallible, they both say Infallible, but they're different. So this one I did in my foundation declutter because I use it as a foundation, so it's not gonna be in this collection here, but I'm gonna let this one go too. This one is too matte and it looks dry and powdery on my skin, so those guys are going. I don't even know how long I've had this. This is from IDB and it's a Korean brand, and it's a stark white powder, and it's not for me. Goodbye. So we're getting down to some products. I'm gonna let one more go before I get too far in here. This is one that I've had for a long time from ColourPop. This is their Pretty Fresh. You can see I used it quite a lot. And it's, I think, the lightest shade they make. I haven't reached for this in like a year and a half. So this one can definitely go as well. All right, one that I know is not going anywhere is this one. This is the Beauty Pie One Powder Wonder. I love it so much. I already have a backup that is still brand spanking new. See, it's so pretty. But I love this powder. So this one is staying. I also put a fresh compact of this in the giveaway that I did for 2,000 subscribers, and I sent it off to my winner, Julie, and I hope she loves it. I haven't heard whether she's gotten it yet, but this powder I think is beautiful. I don't know whether this powder works on deeper skin tones, but for someone as fair as me, probably even fair to light, it really is gorgeous, and I love this all over the face. These guys are staying. The next one I think I'm gonna let go is not because it's a bad powder, and this is also where I wanna tell you there's gonna be some products in here that are actually really good and probably even really great that I don't reach for. And they might be your favorite, but I'm getting rid of them because they haven't really been getting any use. And that's where this falls in. This is the Rimmel Stay Matte. I have had this for a long time and I have used it. I have used it enough that you can't really see the imprint of like the fleur-de-lis on the front anymore. It's a great powder. I just haven't reached for it in more than a year. And like the one from ColourPop that I had hit pan on even, I just haven't reached for it in so long. I don't want to keep stuff in my collection that I'm not reaching for. But if you're looking for a great powder from the drugstore that's super affordable, this one is great and it sits nicely on the skin. Even my older 40-year-old skin, this still looks pretty good on it. I used to be 100% in love with this from Milani. This is the Prep Set and Glow. I know they have the Prep Set and Matte. Do they still make this? I like this powder so much. This one actually has like a little divot in it. I can tell that, you know, if I were to go for like another, you know, couple of months of regular use, I would definitely hit pan on this. I don't think I've reached for this in the past year. Once I got that Beauty Pie powder, it kicked all the rest of my affordable powders out. I think I can let this one go too. But that's a great powder. If you still have it or you can still find it, beautiful. Another one that I use all the time from the drugstore is this one from CoverGirl. This is the Advanced Radiance powder. Man, I love this powder. This powder is gorgeous. This is the shade 110 Creamy Natural. It looks better in the summer on my skin than it does in the winter, but I just make it work. This actually even looks okay under my eyes. It's not like the first powder I'll reach for under my eyes, but if I want to use one powder and I don't have time to be bothered with like pulling out 3 or 4, this one works all over my face, even under my eyes, and looks amazing. And before I started using the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear, this is the one that I would use for touch-ups. I just take the little puff that comes in here, hit the corners of my nose to take down some redness or soak up some oil. And it has a little bit of coverage in it, so I could just like tap it over like blemishes that I had. And I feel like it would kind of take them down just a little bit and then just tap in, you know, the rest to make it look like it's kind of cohesive. I actually love this a lot, and I have been known to like tap it over my nose. I like this. I actually even like the puff that comes in here. Is it the best puff? No. But I do wash it, and you can buy replacements for these at the drugstore if you just don't want to bother washing it, but I wash mine fairly regularly. But this is a great powder. She's not going anywhere. Another one from the drugstore that I'm going to hang on to is this one from Number 7. This is the Lift In Illuminate Triple Action Finishing Powder. This is really pretty. And I know that when I use something enough that you really can't see the embossing. I guess you can kind of see it, but it's not as sharp as it used to be. I haven't even had this as long. I think I got it at the beginning of this year, so 6 months. I have been using it, but out of all of my affordable pressed powders, the one from Beauty Pie is still my favorite. This one is really good. And if you're looking for a drugstore dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless, really good. So out of 10 affordable pressed powders, I am getting rid of 6, and I am keeping 4, but I kind of feel like since these two are exactly the same and it's kind of like waiting in the wings for one is done, maybe we'll call it out of 9, I'm keeping 3 and I'm getting rid of 6. That's a good place to start. I have more high-end pressed powders than I did affordable. The first one I know I can get rid of is this one here from MAC. This is their Mineralized Skin Finish. It's actually a good shade match for me. There's nothing wrong with this powder, and this is where I will remind you there are going to be some products that are good that I'm getting rid of because I'm not using them. This is definitely one of them. And it's not one that I would say don't buy it, it's not worth the money. No, it's a fine product. I just haven't been reaching for it, and because it's not my ride or die, I feel bad getting rid of a product like this, but I can't hang on to what I know I don't use. Another one I'm going to get rid of, this is like the old packaging. This is the Halo Perfecting Powder. I have the shade Fair. I'm not even going to open it because I had, well, maybe I will. It's one of those where you can twist it and it kind of grinds. The powder underneath is pressed, but as you twist this top portion, it shaves off a little portion for every single use. I haven't used this in a while. This can also go. I also like that I'm getting rid of chunkier packaging. Both of these land in that semi-chunky territory. So this one is really hard for me and I'm divided on it. It's not the right shade, but it does beautiful things. And I'm keeping it for that reason, but I don't know that I would repurchase it unless they came out with a lighter shade, and it's this one from Chantecaille. This is the Perfect Blur Finishing Powder. Beautiful. I love this, but as you can see, it is definitely a little darker than I need it to be. If I go lightly with this, it's perfection. And the way that it blurs and gets rid of all of my pores and smooths some of these forehead lines and makes everything just look filtered, I love that about this powder. It is good. It's $84, and the part that I'm dithering about, I'm gonna hang on to her because she's expensive and she's beautiful. But will I be willing to pay $84 again for a not perfect matching powder? Probably not. But for now, we're gonna hang on to you. This is one that I've had for so long, and it's basically just a powder. Oh, I didn't know that I'd broken this. I used to have two of these from Julie Hewitt, Los Angeles. I used to have one that was translucent, that was kind of like that HD white powder pressed, and this one here in this light skin tone shade. I haven't used this in forever. I love that the packaging is so skinny and slimline, and it's got a nice mirror in it. I like everything about this, but I don't use it. Goodbye. Here's another one that I've had for a while that I just haven't been reaching for. It's not a bad powder. It's actually a really nice powder. It's the Lucidity powder from Estee Lauder. And it's a really lovely, I feel like it works well. It's great for, you know, soaking up oil, you know, kind of blotting your nose. It never really looks terribly heavy, but I haven't been reaching for it. I remember when I bought this a couple years ago, I had just finished a previous compact of it, and it's what I would keep in my purse. There are some products that I like that work well for me in my purse, and you know what has kind of taken the place of this? It's a drugstore one. So I now carry that one, and it's out here because I recently did a foundation declutter, but it's gonna go back in my purse, but I really love it. And this is the one I've been using as my purse, like touch-up powder, and now I'm using the other one. So, man, these are expensive. I've got a lot of expensive powders I'm not hanging on to here. Take this as like cautionary tale. Don't do what I do. I recently picked this up. This is Pat McGrath's Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder. Is it sublime? I don't know. It really, oddly enough, reminds me almost identical of the Beauty Pie powder because they're both kind of that white, slightly luminous powders. The one from Pat McGrath is actually much softer pressed, and I feel like you get a lot more product in here, and I can't tell the difference between either of these when I have them under my eyes. One day I did Pat McGrath here and I did Beauty Pie here, and they were the same and they look the same. This one is domed, but it is also amazingly white, and it is much looser pressed, even though it is a pressed powder. More of it comes up on my brush, so I have to be careful to knock off excess with this, and I don't with the Beauty Pie because my brush doesn't pick up nearly as much. I am going to hang on to this because there are days that I can leave this like right here on my beauty table. I can use a powder everywhere, and I'll use this under the eye, but I probably wouldn't repurchase it since it's new and I'm still kind of making my mind up about it. One that I love that's a new purchase, love this one from Kosas. This is their Cloud Set. I have the shade Airy. My only complaint about this is that there is no mirror. Like even drugstore ones have mirrors in them. And I know that with this kind of clear, kind of frosted packaging, a mirror wouldn't look good in here because you would see it stuck to the inside, but for, was it $32, $34? Could you please put a mirror in here? But I think it's super cute. I wish it wasn't as chunky, it doesn't need to be this fat, but that's okay. I am gonna hang on to this though. Another one that I'm gonna hang on to is this one from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. This is a gorgeous powder. Obviously I love it because I've hit pan. I have had a compact of this for probably the last 6 years. I don't know, I remember discovering Charlotte Tilbury. My first order was this and a lipstick. It was Pillow Talk and this, and fell in love, and that's when I started diving into Charlotte Tilbury. I don't know if it was 6 or 7 years ago, but this is a beautiful product. It's $45. Is it worth it? Yes, if you're willing to pay $45 for a powder. Are there other powders that work just as well? I feel like the one from number 7 is a great dupe for this. And I feel like even though this one is beautiful on the skin, you don't have to pay the $45 to get a good product. But if you like Charlotte products and you're willing to spend that amount on one powder, it's beautiful. I wish it had a little more product in it, but I'm gonna hang on to this one. Not going anywhere. I love the ambient lighting powers from Hourglass. This is probably my 7th or, I don't know. I don't even know anymore. I've had a compact of this and I've had it in my collection for the last 13 years. I discovered this a while ago at a boutique. Someone's in trouble. All right, now that the siren's gone, I've had a compact of this in my collection for the past 13 years. I've hit pan on so many of these, I've lost count. I don't know, maybe 7, maybe 8, I don't know. I feel like every time I say that, maybe I'm adding another one on. I don't even know. I've never been without this. This is a product I can use anywhere. Underneath the eyes, I can use it to set my foundation. I can use it as a finishing powder after I put all of my color on, and if my blush is a little too intense or my highlight is like a little blingy, I can use this buffing over the top to kind of bring it all together. It's beautiful. It has never failed me. I've always had one. I can't imagine, unless they discontinue or change the formula, when I wouldn't want to have one of these. This is definitely staying, not going anywhere. I'm wondering about this. I've had this one for a while. This is from Jouer. This is their Soft Focus Hydrate and Set Powder. I actually really like this powder. I think the compact is super cute, but the weird thing that's been happening in the past like 6 months is that I didn't know this was a sticker. And it's a sticker. And it's been pulling up in the corners, and it kind of is disappointing to see that happening. But that's okay. It's a beautiful package, but I'll tell you, for me, it's not what's going on with the packaging, it's the product. Now, I like the product, and when I first got it, I used it so much, and I was using it interchangeably with the one from Charlotte Tilbury, the Airbrush Flawless Finish, and I felt like they were able to be used in the same way, and I really, really liked this one, but I haven't reached for it in a while. And part of me wonders if I kind of clear out my powder collection and I could see this more visibly, more easily, would I reach for it? I think I might hang on to it for now. I love this product. I picked this up during the Sephora sale. It's new for this year. It's the Powder No Powder, the Backstage Powder No Powder from Dior. I think it's really a great product. I like this shade here. This is 0N Neutral. It's a perfect shade for me. It's the lightest shade they have, but it doesn't look heavy on my skin. That's my favorite thing about this, is something that's gonna set my skin without aging me and making me look powdery and dry, and this doesn't. And the older I get, the more sensitive I am to powders that kind of make me look old. I really, really like this one. I'm even wearing it under the eyes today, so that's not going anywhere. So these are both essentially the same thing. This is an old compact that I have from Estee Lauder, but it's not filled with Estee Lauder anymore. It's actually filled with a powder from Besame. And that's the same formula, different shade, that's in this little compact here, right here. So this right here is the shade Marilyn. This is a refillable compact. I love that it's refillable. You can see like right here, there's a little place where you can stick a tool and take the pan out and replace it. So I will be using this gorgeous palette as long as I can get a refill for it. And I wasn't sure whether the shade Marilyn was gonna be my perfect shade, so I got another one that was a little bit lighter. I feel like this one's too light. I can make it work. This is the shade Peggy Carter. I think it's 1945, 1946. Anyway, it's a little bit lighter. This one works really well under my eyes shade-wise. I was really surprised. I wasn't expecting to love the Besame powders as much as I do. They're probably not the first ones I reach for, but every time I use them, I feel like my skin looks really pretty. They're definitely more of a mattifying long wear powder. If you are looking for a powder that is long wear and it comes in a refillable package, they are doing a whole series this summer of Disney princesses. I think you might still be able to get the Marilyn one, but even if you were just to get the pans and you have your own refillable compact, I think you might actually like it a lot. So this one, even though it's an Estee Lauder compact, it does have Besame on the inside. So I'm gonna be hanging on to the both of these. I'm just counting up here. I had a lot of pressed high-end powders and I'm not getting rid of as many as I think I need to. I'm keeping too many. I might have to put the Jouer in the discard pile because I haven't used that in a long time. I have used the rest of these, but what's funny is that with the exception of these two longtime loves, everything else is new just for this spring. I need to stop buying powder. Okay, we'll move on. So I'm keeping 8 of the high-end powders and I'm getting rid of 5. I think 5? Yes, 5 right here. This is going into my discard. I don't really have that many loose affordable powders. I'm gonna let this one go. This is the ColourPop No Filter Setting Powder. I hate how small the packaging is. It does come with a sifter, but it's so small. I can't get a powder brush in there very easily. The cap is so small. I can't tip product in there and swirl without bristles being all outside. I wish, if anything, instead of being this tall, it was shorter and wider for ease of application. But this also sits kind of dusty on my skin. This might be better if you have oily skin, but this powder is a no for me. One that I love is the e.l.f. Halo Setting Powder. This really reminds me of another high-end powder that I love, and I'm gonna hang on to this one. This one, what shade is this? This is the light shade, but I love this. I'm gonna be getting rid of this. This is from Sydney Grace. This is their Cloud 9 setting powder. I have the shade Fair. This is supposed to be a product that is lightweight and has some reflective mica in it, and I could never find the shiny bits. This I love, kind of a glowy setting powder. This just looked white and chalky on my face. I love Sydney Grace eyeshadows, but this powder is not for me. I've had this for a long time. It's actually a really good powder. And again, this is gonna be one of those that I let go, not because it's a bad product, but just because I haven't been reaching for it. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. I have the lightest shade. This is actually a really, I feel like it's really similar to the Huda Beauty baking powder, but I'm not gonna hang on to that one. This is another one that I haven't used in a while, but I like a lot. I don't like how chunky the packaging is, but this is the Flower Beauty Satin Finishing Powder. This is beautiful. They have a matte finishing powder, but this one's my favorite. It is a little hard to open and it kind of goes everywhere, but it is a slight, I don't know, flesh toned, almost peachy leaning powder. Doesn't really smell like much, but I love this on the skin. It's lovely. I just haven't reached for it. I think I'm gonna let this one go too. So I'm only keeping one out of the 4 loose, affordable powders I had. I'm gonna keep this one from e.l.f. and I'm gonna let the other 3 go. I've got these little minis here that I know I can let go of all of these. These are high-end. This is the One Size Patrick Star powder. This is the shade Translucent. This looked kind of powdery and heavy on me. This is the Laura Mercier, but this is not the regular translucent setting powder. This is the glowy one, and this one had little sparkles in it that I could literally see on my skin. I didn't really care for that. And I have one here from Fenty Beauty. This is their shade Butter. It's their Pro Filter powder. This one also looked a little heavy on the skin. I don't tend to like these little tiny guys. It's a great way to try and sample it, but for everyday use, you've got enough powder in here to use for a while, but I have a hard time getting a brush in here, so I hate these guys just for their sheer size. They're so tiny. I never know where to put these. Pressed, loose, I don't know, because there's a bunch of little loose pearls in here. These are the Guerlain Meteorites. And I've had these for so long, and I tried to get rid of them last time and I couldn't because I paid so much for them, but I haven't really been using them. I think it's time to let them go. Do you have these? Do you love these? I don't know, I would love to know. I think I'm gonna officially let those go. All right, this is a great powder. I just don't reach for it. This is the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. I feel like this is a great everyday set, and this used to be my everyday powder up until I was like 43, maybe 44. And in the last couple of years, my skin has started to change. I'm 46 now, and I definitely feel like the last time I reached for this reliably was in mid 2019, 2 years ago, and I just haven't reached for it. It's a great powder, but I don't think I have to have it. So this is one that I recently picked up this spring. I got this during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. This is from Beauty Bakery. This is their Flower Setting Powder. This is actually a good product. I don't know that I'm hanging on to it because it's my favorite, but I think I'm hanging on to it because I haven't had it that long, and I haven't it's good, and I haven't formed like a totally firm decision, but I'm gonna hang on to this for a little bit. I'm gonna let this go. This is the Bare Minerals, oh, this is the Mineral Veil. I thought this was like the actual mineral powder. I don't even think I've had I've had this for so long I didn't even know I had it. All right, I'm gonna let this go because I have not been reaching for this. Another one that I think is really beautiful, but I also haven't been reaching for, is this one here from Jane Iredale. This is their Amazing Matte Loose Finishing Powder. This is a really gorgeous product. Oh, it kills me to get rid of this because it's expensive and it's really good. I just don't reach for it. Here's one that I can get rid of without any like emotions at all. This is from Ciate London. It's their Everyday Vacay Coconut Setting Powder. It's really white. It doesn't really smell coconutty. I don't know if it was supposed to. This is too white for me, and it ends up looking white on my skin, and I don't like it. And I also don't like that every time I open it, it's like poof, stuff goes everywhere. One that I have been trying so hard to finish, and I'm pretty close, but I think I'm gonna let it go, is this one from Becca. And Becca is closing up shop in a couple of months, and it's so sad. And this was a good product. It just wasn't my favorite. This is their, is it their Hydro Set? Their Hydro Mist powder. It's a good product. I don't love it. I've had this for a while and I never use it. This came in a BoxyCharm. I think these last three here, like the Ciate one and the one from Becca, also came in a BoxyCharm, but this is the one from Pretty Vulgar. This one is called the Powder Room. That's the name of the powder. It's super cute because it comes with this little like velvet puff, but I don't use it. There's a lot of product in here. It's just not one I've been reaching for, so this one can go as well. Oh, that's a lot of goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. That's fine, that's fine, that's what we're here to do. All right, ooh, we're getting down to some of my favorites. I didn't think I could love another Hourglass powder as much as the ambient lighting powders, but this Veil setting powder is beautiful. My beef with it is I wish the sifter was a little bit bigger. The sifter is in the shape of an H, and there's a little stopper here like this ring. It kind of goes over the H and presses down onto this gold area, so you only get a small amount out, which is great because you don't need a lot. And I've had this for a while, but how close am I? Ooh, I'm almost out. There's very little left in here. Yeah, it wouldn't take much for me to be done with this. That's a beautiful powder. I'm divided on this one. Let me tell you why. This is a Charlotte Tilbury Magic powder. It's for under eyes and face. I only use it on the face because I don't like the way it looks under my eyes. And I love that it's got a big lid. I like that it has this sifter cover. I love that so much. I think it's a really beautiful powder, and I like that it is slightly luminous. I'm gonna hang on to this, but I think my beef with this powder is that if it just said Magic Setting Powder, and I could decide where to use it and whether it looked good under my eyes or not. I think my problem with this is not that it's not a good powder. It looks beautiful on my face. It looks beautiful as a finishing powder. It looks beautiful as a setting powder. It just doesn't look beautiful on me under my eyes. And I think that if it didn't say on the back, like right here, like under eye and face powder, I think that if it didn't say that, I wouldn't have a beef with this, but I feel disappointed. You know, that you're claiming to do something that you don't do. I'm gonna hang on to this, but every time I reach for it, I'm kind of like, you again. So we'll think about that. I've had this powder for so long. This is the Huda Beauty baking powder. This is the Pound Cake Easy Bake Loose Powder. This is so heavy and it smells so strongly. Oh, it's a lot. It has one of those little mesh nets. I feel like the powder is really good. I used to use it a lot more than I do now, and I don't think that I need it. I feel like it does a great job of really hiding a lot of my pores and really bringing down the shine on my nose, but it's also, the older I get, the heavier it looks on my skin. And I can't use it under my eyes. I can't use it over the rest of my face. I really only can use it in this area. And I don't want a powder where I'm limited to like just here and maybe my chin in the summer. I want something I can use everywhere. The minute I put this on my forehead, now that I have these deeper lines here, oh, I look terrible. If I ever get it too high here and hit kind of my crow's feet or get even close to my under eye, it's just not beautiful on me. And I don't want a powder that I can't use everywhere. The last one I have for you is one that bothers me every time I pull it out because it used to be gold all over and now I get these little, yeah. And now I'm going to be covered in this little gold foil. I should just take the time to scrape it all off the top. This is Lancome's Absolute Powder. The powder is beautiful. I love it so much. I just hate the sparkle from the lid. Every time I touch it, I get it everywhere, and then I end up with those little flakes in my skin. So I think maybe before I put all my powders away, since I'm going to hang on to this one, I am going to get rid of it. It's a kind of an expensive powder, but what I love about it is it's very finely milled. I have the shade Absolute Pesh. I've tried like 3 different shades of this, and it took a while to find the right shade for me, but it has a slight luminous quality to it, and it doesn't look heavy on the skin. I have used this all over as a setting powder and it's beautiful, but in the summertime it's too glowy. In the wintertime it's really, really, really pretty, but there have been days that I've used it just as a highlight If you wear it, like build it up a little bit more, it makes a really beautiful highlight. And there have been days that I've used it just on the tops of my cheeks, bridge of my nose, Cupid's bow, like right over the arch of my eyebrows. Maybe we'll just tap a little bit of it in there. I really love this powder. I think it's really pretty and it sits well on my skin. So I'm gonna hang on to this one. But I am gonna take a razor blade and just scrape off all the top of those little gold flakes. Bad packaging. Oh, I hate that, especially when I spend a pretty penny. Looks like I miscounted. I have 43 powders here. I am getting rid of 26 of them and I'm only keeping 17. I probably could cut that 17 down again, but a lot of them are new and I'm just gonna hang on to them and let all the ones that have been sitting in my collection, I'm just looking at them here. There's a lot. Let me put them in a box so you can see them. They couldn't even all fit in the box. I was like, I'm gonna have extra room. I didn't. This is 26 powders. I'm still not sure that keeping 17 is wise, but I might continue to thin the herd as I'm using things over the next several months. Like, you know what? I've tried this one. I don't really like it. I think I can let it go. But for right now, for the chopping block, I feel like I'm starting at a good place. I would love to know if powder is your thing. If you have a favorite powder, am I getting rid of one of your favorites? Am I keeping one of your favorites, or did I not mention it at all? And you're like, girl, you gotta try let me know in the comments down below. If you wanna see the other declutters that I've done earlier this summer, I will, remember, they're in the description box. But I'm also gonna make sure and put my declutter playlist for you right here. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.